All right, since the NFL draft is about 4 weeks away, I'm going to start doing some mock drafts for specific teams in which that can really affect how the draft plays out. One of those teams, right, is my New York Jets. So I'm going to start with the Jets today and just do a quick mock. So for the Jets, overall defense is a complete mess. So the goals of this mock draft are, we're trying to improve all three parts of the defense: defensive line, linebacker, and secondary. The Jets also need another wide receiver to start outside of Garrett Wilson. Right, they brought in A.D. Mitchell at the trade deadline, but they're going to need another running mate for him. So the other goal of this draft is to bring in a wide receiver who, hopefully could start outside of Garrett. And then we're also going to look to add some depth, probably at defensive tackle and on the offensive line. As far as quarterback goes, I don't expect them to draft a quarterback early. Maybe they'll pick someone in one of the later rounds, but I'm not expecting Ty Simpson to go in this draft. Of course, we'll see how this mock plays out. Maybe if Ty's available in the second round, maybe I'll jump on him. So the Jets, 4 picks in the top 44. So let's get going and we'll see how this plays out. I'm using PFSN, Pro Football Network's mock draft simulator. I find that one's one of the easier ones to go with and maneuver around. So we're going to draft a trade offer right away. So the Raiders took Fernando Mendoza at 1. The Jets are now at 2. So the Chiefs are offering pick 9, 29, 40, and 210 for pick number 2. And then we have another trade offer here. So the Browns are offering pick 6, pick 24, and their second round pick in 2027. Wow. So, all right, here's the thing. If I'm looking at it this way, like going from 2 to 9, there's going to be a drop off of the talent from 2 to 9. 2 to 6, right? If I'm still picking at 6, I'm picking up Cleveland's other first round pick at 24 and their second round pick in next year's 2027 draft, which is going to be a loaded draft. So at 6, I can still get a very good defensive player. I don't think Reese will be there, but maybe David Bailey will still be there. Maybe Sonny Styles will be there. So I'm gonna do this trade with Cleveland here. I'm gonna trade pick 2 to Cleveland for pick 6, pick 24, and their 2027 second. So let's do that trade. Cleveland took Carnell Tate, David Bailey, Arvell Reese, and then Mansour Delane. Oh, the Chiefs, they're still trying to come up with us. So we've got a trade request now at number 6. So I would drop, let's see, three more, and I'd pick up pick number 40. Wow, I have so many first round. So let's just see another quick update here. So the Browns took Carnell Tate. The Cardinals then took David Bailey at 3. The Titans took Arvell Reese at 4, and the Giants took Mansour Delane at 5. So now I'm at 6. Now it's really at this point, it's like, how greedy do I want to get? Do I want to move down 3 more spots here, right? Possibly lose out on Ruben Bain, Sonny Styles, and then Caleb Downs is here. You know what? I'm not going to get too crazy with it. So I'm going to make the pick at 6. And I'm going to decide between Ruben Bain and Sonny Styles. I think Sonny Styles is one of the best players in the draft. He's a top 5 player in the draft, and he made it past the top 5 basically because the Raiders are going with Fernando Mendoza here. But I like Sonny Styles as, to lead the future of the Jets defense here. He can be a running mate for Demario Davis, right? They still have Jamie and Sherwood technically at linebacker. So Styles would technically be like maybe the third linebacker here. But I wouldn't be surprised if, maybe they would look to move Sherwood. I know he's got a high contract, but I think drafting Styles here makes Jamie and Sherwood expendable. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to draft Sonny Styles here at number 6. And then we have another pick. Our next pick is at 16. We'll see how the rest of the draft plays out. The Cowboys got Jeremiah Love at 12. Mekhi Lemon went at 14. Okay, the Cowboys, so they're looking to come up here with us. They're offering pick 20 for their 2027 second round pick. So before I look at the trade, so right at 16, if you're the Jets, you're looking to see what wide receivers make sense here. Unfortunately, Mekhi Lemon went 2 spots earlier to Baltimore in this situation. So here's an interesting situation for the Jets to think about here. You're on the clock at 16. Kenyon Sadiq, the top tight end in the draft, is available. So, right, do I go with Kenyon Sadiq? Right, they drafted Mason Taylor last year in the second round. He was kind of banged up last year, but they're still high on him. So it's like if you draft Sadiq here, you could run a lot of two tight end sets with Mason Taylor and Kenyon Sadiq. As far as the other receivers go, Omar Cooper is here at 25, but I could get him a little later here. I'm going to go back to the Cowboys offer here. So they're offering pick 20 and the second round pick for pick 16. I think I'm going to take that trade. They probably want to come up for Jermod McCoy or Dylan Thielman, I guess, right? If it makes sense, if the simulator makes sense here, they're looking for defensive back help. So I'm actually going to do this trade with Dallas. I'm going to get their second round pick next year. Again, if I'm the Jets, I'm thinking, I can load up on the 2027 class, and I'm not really in love with anybody at the spot. Sadiq, I like him, but I don't know if he's going to really fit what the Jets are trying to do on offense. I know that probably doesn't really make sense, and they should probably just take the best player available here, but I'm going to make this trade with Dallas. Yeah, they took Thielman, Falk, Concepcion, Fano, and look, we're still on we got our guy Kenyon Sadiq who's still staring us in the face here at 20, and I picked up a second round pick from the Cowboys. So let's see who else went here. So we got the Cowboys took Thielman at the safety from Oregon. The Patriots took Falk. Washington took Casey Concepcion. Look at all these trades in a row here. 5 trades in a row. So okay, so I'm still at 20. Kenyon Sadiq is still on the board at 20 at number 20. Omar Cooper at 25. You know what? I'm going to take Kenyon Sadiq here. He's going to be paired with Mason Taylor, and we're going to have a lethal tight end combination. Sadiq maybe could even line up on the outside on occasion, maybe in the slot. So this will take pressure off of Garrett Wilson. I'm taking Kenyon Sadiq. And now we're picking right away at 24. Whoa, Broncos are offering me basically their entire draft to come up to 24. Packers are offering a lot too. Get the Texans pick. So I'm being offered all these picks by the Broncos and the Packers. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to stay at 24 because I think Jermod McCoy is just too damn good to pass up at this point. And for the record, I don't think he'll be here at pick number 24. But the way this simulator's working out for us, we're able to get maybe one of the top corners in the draft at Jermod McCoy. The corner's not a massive need for the Jets, right? They have Brandon Stevens, they have Zaire Thomas, who they drafted last year, Jarvis Brownlee in the slot. So it's not like it's not like they're loaded at corner or anything, but there is a lot of depth there. But I'm going to take Jermod McCoy here at 24. So we actually had 3 first-round picks in this draft. So we also got pick 33, which is coming up here. And the Colts have a trade offer for us. So they want pick 33, and they want us to give a pick 242 for 47 and a second rounder. And the other deal, the Bears are offering pick 41 and a second rounder in next year's draft for pick 33. So if I'm the Jets at this point, right? So let's just take a quick look at my picks so far. So we took Sonny Styles at 6. We got Kenyon Sadiq at 20. And we got Jermod McCoy at 24. So we've drafted probably 3 of the top maybe 10 players in this draft. So I'm really liking how this draft's coming along for us so far. So at this point, what I'm trying to do, I'm looking for a pass rusher or maybe a defensive tackle. I'm trying to add to the defensive line. So let's see who's available here at 33. So Christian Miller, the defensive tackle from Georgia, is here. Colton Hood's still on the board too. That's pretty crazy. Ty Simpson is here at 33. At 33, I'm actually very comfortable with pulling the trigger on him here. I think I'm going to go Ty at 33. I think it just makes too much sense. Christian Miller is here. He could be a guy. He'd probably be the guy I'd be looking to take here. Denzel Boston's still on the board. Chris Bell. But at this point in the draft, right, if you're the Jets, like I said before this mock, quarterback wasn't my high priority. But right now, the fact that we're into the second round and Ty Simpson's still on the board, I like the value here. And honestly, coming in as a second round pick instead of being a middle first round pick, there should be less expectations on Ty right away. I think just like from like fans thinking mentally about this, right? It's like, obviously if Ty was a first round pick, you're like, oh man, we got to play Ty right away. But the fact that he's like a second round pick, I know it's like 33, it's the first pick of the second round, but the fact that he's coming in at 33, there should be less of a priority for him to play right away. So I'm actually going to take Ty at 33. I think it makes too much sense. And then we have another pick coming up at 44 here. And I need to look for a pass rusher at 44. We'll see who's on the board. Colton Hood didn't go until 43, which is crazy. So let's see. Detroit, they want pick 44. They're offering me pick 50 and a third rounder next year. I don't think. All right, so let's see. So I'm looking at a pass rusher here. So we got TJ Parker from Clemson who's on the board here. Let's see. I'm just looking at some numbers here on him. I haven't really done much research on TJ Parker. Oh, where do we go here? I see TJ Parker. I see Zion Young. Chris Brazell's here. Jeremy Bernard's here. So let's take a look at our picks real quick. So here's something I do want to. So right, we're picking at 44. We're not picking again until 103. And the only trade offer I have is from the Lions. See, so we're gonna have like a gap of like about what, almost 60 picks between this pick and our next pick. So with that being said, I really need to address a need here. I am going to go. I kind of like Zion Young from Missouri. I'm going to go Zion Young instead of TJ Parker. So I want to add to that pass rush. So I'm going Zion Young here. So let's look at it so far as, right, we're waiting for our next pick here. So we've added a lot of talent this draft. So Sonny Styles at linebacker at 6. Kenyon Sadiq at 20, tight end from Oregon. Jermon McCoy, which is a freaking steal at 24. I got Ty Simpson at 33. He was available there. Made perfect sense to take him if you're the Jets. And then Zion Young, I just took at 44. So I've addressed all three levels of the defense here. We got our linebacker. We've got our defensive back, our corner. We've got an edge. I still would like to find a safety somewhere in this draft. We got a quarterback here who can sit behind Geno Smith for at least half the season, probably. And then we've got Sadiq, another weapon on offense here. I'm going to try to look for another wide receiver, though. I'd like to find a wide receiver late with one of these later picks. So definitely looking at wide receiver and safety are the two positions I'm looking to address here. And look at this. We even picked up 2 second-round picks in 2027 draft. So, right, in the 2027 draft with the Jets, actually what we can do is go back to draft results. Okay, so here we are. We're on the clock here. So we're here at 103. Like I said, wow, Elijah Surratt is still here in the 4th round. I think this is a freaking steal. I'm taking Elijah Surratt to add to our wide receiver room. He might even be able to start on the outside. The Jets wide receiver room is just, it's not much of a room, honestly, right? You got Garrett Wilson, who's a stud, but then you got A.D. Mitchell, who's like he's an okay player. We'll see. Maybe he can be better this year. And then they have Isaiah Williams, who's like their punt returner, kick returner, special teams guy. And then, honestly, there's really not much in that room at all. When Arian Smith is like your 4th receiver right now, he may not even make the team. He was a real disappointment this past year. So, okay, here we go. We're picking again at pick 140. Let's see who's on the board here. At this point, I'm looking to see if there's like a safety worth taking here. Let's see. That's not really a safety in the top over here. Katron Allen's the best on the board, the running back. Couple running backs here. Kalen Black, too, from Indiana. Charlie Demings from Stephen F. Austin. 6'2", 180. We already took a corner, though. Man, I wouldn't mind trading out of this pick, honestly. Taylon Green's here. At this point, there's nothing really jumping out at me. Nicholas Singleton. Wow, there's really nothing jumping out. I mean, Jake Slaughter is here, the center from Florida. At 158. He might be the best center in the draft. They rank him number 7 here. third. Yeah, they say projected third round. What are we in, like the fifth round right now? The last pick of the fourth round. I'm going to take Jake Slaughter here. I mean, the Jets could use like their long-term center replacement. So I'm going to take Jake Slaughter here as like just depth on the interior offensive line. So there's Slaughter at pick 140. We're picking at 179. So okay, so we've added some depth on the offensive line. I'd still like to add a safety somewhere in this mix. Let's see. Is there any safeties on the board? On the defensive side of the ball. And we're getting into like the late hours. Kennedy from Oregon. He was an okay player. Maybe he's not expected to go till pick 208. Again, this is PFSN's rankings. I don't know if this is the consensus really. Let's see. So best players available here. Roman Hemby from Indiana is here. I mean, Jets don't really need a running back. We got Drew Aller on the board here. Let's see. I'm looking for. I mean, Hemby might make sense here. So the Jets do have Braylon Allen as the backup running back, who at least the last administration seemed to be high on. I don't know if Darren Muji or Aaron Glenn are high on Braylon Allen. They have Isaiah Davis too, who's kind of like their third down back. Hemby, man, I might just take Roman Hemby here. Just looking through, there's still not a there's Jalen Husky, safety from Maryland. I'll be honest, I don't know anything about him. He's 6'2", 201. Let me see his testing. I might be looking at this guy at safety. He didn't run the 40. I have no idea. Historical. I mean, there's nothing really to look at here. Projections. I mean, there's nothing really much to look at here, I don't think. Oh, he could compare to Jaquan Brisker, it says. Jalen Hunt. So, okay. So I think we're going to go. I'm just going to, you know what? I might just take him at the spot. We need some players at safety. I'm going to take this guy, Jalen Husky. And then we're picking at 228. Is that our last pick? All right, we have picked 228 and 242 here. But all right, so we've added a lot to our needs, though. Husky's in at safety, so it's just a depth guy. I mean, the Jets starting safeties right now are probably Minkah Fitzpatrick and Malachi Moore. But we needed to add some more players to that room. So we'll do that with Husky. Dane Belton, too, they signed from the Giants. So we're just adding depth at this point to that position. But yeah, we've addressed a lot of our needs in this draft. We got players at all three levels of the defense. We even got Ty Simpson, who, like I said, I wasn't looking for a quarterback, but we got him at 33. He was too good to pass up at that point. I got Zion Young on the edge, which I'm happy about. Elijah Surratt, who I really like. I got him at wide receiver. Let's see, are we on the board? Yep, we're on the board. Okay, 228 at this point. I'm just kind of, I'm just looking for like backups at this point. There's a tight end. Oh, we drafted Kenyon Sadiq. There's another safety here from Indiana, Devon Boykin. Pat Coogan from Indiana is on the board. Oh, Wagner from Notre Dame. So we could draft a backup offensive tackle here. I mean, I'm not going to go crazy about that. It's one position we could add to. He ran a pretty well 40-yard dash. I'm going to take one of my Notre Dame boys here. I'm going to take Wagner from Notre Dame just as like a backup tackle. We could use more depth on the offensive line. And then with my last pick at 242, here we go. We're picking right now at 242. We get Jeff Caldwell, wide receiver from Cincinnati. What did he run? He ran a 4.31. Wow. Got good size here. 6'5", 200 pounds. I might just double up on receiver here. You might as well. Heck with it. I'll double up on receiver. So Jeff Caldwell, Cincinnati at 243. So let's review our picks. All right. So Sonny Styles, Love that pick. He was the best player on the board at number 6, so we took him. Kenyon Sadiq, I tell you, if he's on the board in real life for the Jets at 16, and like there's no other like wide receiver maybe that's like if Mekhi Lemon's off the board or Jordan Tyson's off the board, maybe they would go Sadiq. I think that would be a really interesting pick if the Jets did that. Jermon McCoy, he's not going to be there at 24. This was an absolute steal. Ty Simpson at 33, he probably won't be there either. But the fact that he was there, I took him. Zion Young, he adds to the pass rush on the edge, which the Jets desperately need. Elijah Surratt, who I really like. Slaughter is going to be the long-term center, not this year, but maybe next year. And then you add these depth pieces here, a safety, a tackle, and another receiver. And then look at this. We even picked up some second-round picks here for next year in the 2027 draft, which is going to be loaded with talent. So, all right. So that was my Jets mock draft. I'm going to do a couple other teams as well that I'll start posting. The teams I'm going to pick are teams that need to develop talent and probably are going to affect the draft because they have so many picks. So I'm going to look for teams like that to start doing these mock drafts. All right. See you later.